Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Govinda, Radha Govinda, Radhe Jaya Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radhe. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Sri Radhe. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada. Jai Niti Lila Pravishtom Vishnupara Paramahansa Parivar Jagracharya Ashtotarastata Shishmar His Divine Grace Abhay Charan Bhaktivedanta Goswami Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktavinda Ki Jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Sri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Srimad Bhāgavatam Ki Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Gaura Premanande. All glories to the assembly bodies, all glories to the assembly bodies, all glories to the assembly bodies, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Muridayed Nasta Praeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtuki. So reading from Srimad Bhāgavatam, The Glories of Devotional Service. It's Canto 3, Chapter 25, Text 9, Text 8. So we will chant the beautiful Sanskrit and you all will respond. Tasya Tvam Tamaso Andhasya Dushpraprastyadya Praragam Sach Chakshur Janmanam Ante Labdham Me Tvar Anugrahat Tasya Tvam Tamaso Andasya Dushpraprasyadya Praragam Satchakshur Janmanan Ante Labdham me tvad anugrahat. Tasya tvam tamaso andhasya. Dushpraprasyadya paragam. Satchakshur janmanam ante. Labdham me tvad anugrahat. Tasya tvam tamaso andhasya. Dushpraprasyadya paragam. Satchakshur janmanam ante. Labdham me tvad anugrahan. Tasya tvam tamaso andhasya. Dushparasyadya paragam. Satchakshur janmanam ante. Labdham me tvad anugrahan. Tasya tvam Satchakshur janmanam ante. Labdham me tvad anugrahat. Tasya tvam tamaso andhasya. Dusparasya paragam. Satchakshur janmanam ante. Labdham tvad anugrahat. Tasya tvam andhasya. Dusparasya paragam. Satchakshur janmanam ante. Etvad anugrahat. Mataji's. Tasya tvam tamaso andhasya. Dushparasyadya paragam. Satchakshur janmanam ante. Labdham me tvad anugrahan. Tasya tvam tamaso andhasya. Dushparasyadya paragam. Satchakshur janmanam ante. Labdham me tvad anugrahat. Tasya that. Tvam you. Tamasa ignorance. Andhasya darkness. Dushparasya difficult to cross. Adya now. Paragam crossing over. Sat transcendental. Chakshu eye. Janmanam of births. Ante at the end. Labdham attained. Me my. Tvad anugrahat by your mercy. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Your Lordship is my only means of getting out of this darkest region of ignorance, because you are my transcendental eye, which by your mercy only I have attained after many births. Kindly repeat. Your Lordship is my only means of getting out of this darkest region of ignorance, because you are my transcendental eye, which by your mercy only I have attained after many, many births. Purport. This verse is very instructive since it indicates the relationship between the spiritual master and the disciple. The disciple or conditioned soul is put into the darkest region of ignorance and therefore is entangled in the material existence of sense gratification. It is very difficult to get out of this entanglement and attain freedom. But if one is fortunate enough to get the association of a spiritual master, like Kapila Muni or his representative, then by his grace one can be delivered from the mire of ignorance. The spiritual master is therefore worshipped as one who delivers the disciple from the mire of ignorance with the light of the torch of knowledge. The word paragam is very significant. Paragam refers to one who can take the disciple to the other side. This side is conditional life, and the other side is a life of freedom. The spiritual master takes the disciple to the other side by opening his eyes with the knowledge. We are suffering simply because of ignorance. By the instruction of the spiritual master, the darkness of ignorance is removed, and thus the disciple is enabled to go to the side of freedom. It is stated in the Bhagavad Gita that after many births, many births, one surrenders to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Similarly, if after many births, one is able to find a bona fide spiritual master and surrender to such a bona fide representative of Krishna, one can be taken to the side of light. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshul Militang Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langaite Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Sri Guru Dina Taranam Paramanandam Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram Jayatam Surato Pango Mama Mandamate Ragati Mat Sarvashwa Padam Bujo Sri Radha Madana Mohano Divyad Vrindaranya Kalpadrumara Srimad Ratnagara Sringhasanasto Srimad Sila Radha Govinda Devo Prishtalevi Sevya Mano Smarami Sri Sriman Rasarasarambi Vangsi Vatatata Sitaha Karshana Venur Swanair Gopi Gopinath Sriyestunaha Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Sri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutidevi Pranamami Hari Pre Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripasindube evacha paritanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So I take this wonderful opportunity to thank the devotees for giving me this opportunity to sit here and talk about the wonderful glories of the Supreme Lord and his devotees. So this verse is very instructive since it indicates the relationship between the spiritual master and the disciple. And every day we recite this wonderful prayer. Om Ajnana Timirandasya. Ajnana. We are in the ignorance. We are born in ignorance in this material world. When we take birth in this world, we are in total dependency upon our parents, and we are in a total loss. We doesn't know anything. We have to learn everything. And we are coming from the dark womb where we are hanging upside down, praying. It is said that many great scholars and, Tattvadarshis, seers of the truth, they have concluded that we are suffering in that position. And it is it is andakar, it is a dark place where we are simply crying out to the Lord that when we come to the material world, when we take birth, we would serve the Supreme Lord. But when we come out of the womb, we have to be pampered. We have to be given everything to just for we to sustain life, for we to get some type of hope. The parents have to pamper their child so much and so much attention that our great Acharya Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he actually remembered when he was in the womb of his mother. He actually remembered that. Such is the power of the great souls. We doesn't remember anything. We are so in such ignorance. He remembered he was there. And when he have written that prayer also, many connecting prayers in that relationship, that when he came to, the material world, he remembered it clearly. And he was being pampered by his parents. Then he was sent to school, and he thought everything was okay. And then he was posted when he got his education, he was very proud, and he was posted in many different positions because of his education. But all these situation is, if we can remember them and we can do something to make a difference, that is important. But we come into this material world, we are born in the darkness of ignorance, andhakar. Ignorance, agyana, no knowledge. We have to learn everything. We have to even learn how to walk. We have to learn how to talk. We have to learn so many things, and we are suffering while we are learning these things. But we are being pampered by our parents in society. And if that is not done, that is considered to be very horrible parenting. If the parent doesn't pamper the child and give him all these, facilities, he may not even develop. And we see that children, when they take birth and they are placed in condition like that, where they doesn't have all the facilities for, developing a harmonious existence, then their totality doesn't come into existence where they can learn how to walk and talk and do things in a civilized, way. And sometime when they come in, when they grow up, you see there is a connection where some psychologists, they can assess, yes, this person, he was traumatized when he was in his childhood. He didn't have good parenting, or he was born in certain condition. But across the board, we are all born in ignorance. Om Agyana Timirandasya. Timira is darkness. And Andasya is blinded. We are blinded by the Om Agyana Timirandasya. We are blinded by the ignorance. So we cannot see. But Chakshu Ulmilitam. Chakshu Ulmilitam Meena. Om Agyana Timidandasya Gyananjana. But by the Gyana Anjana, that instrument, Shalakaya, that is used to remove the ignorance, is the Jnana. Jnana Anjana. Shalakaya. The eyes are open. Chakshu Ulmilitam Mena. And Guru is opening the eyes with a torchlight of divine knowledge. So we are born in the darkness of ignorance, And the spiritual master opened our eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. So also when we take birth as a devotee, it is considered a new birth when we become initiated, when we take up the part of devotional service and we become initiated. It is that time that we take the spiritual birth, the spiritual awakening. It is considered to be called Dvija. Dvi means two, and Ja means birth. Two is the second birth. So when we get that initiation from the spiritual master, then our spiritual life that begins. And like Srila Prabhupada, our great spiritual master, the perfect example in all dimension, when he first met his spiritual master, he concluded within his mind that this is my spiritual master. This is where his new birth began. So it is a realization. It is something to understand when we begin our spiritual life. So external manifestation of the Chaitya Guru within the heart is the spiritual master. And the spiritual master is the Sri Guru, direct representative of Radha and Krishna. So the spiritual master, he gives the new birth. He gives the new birth. And in this way, our spiritual life begins, and we can grow spiritually. And it is the bhakti lata bij. It is the seed is planted in the heart at that time, the seed of devotion. And Srila Prabhupada explained it is the kirtana jale, the water of chanting and hearing, constantly pouring onto that seed of devotional service, that seed of devotion within the heart, then that seed will grow. It is the bij, the bhakti lata bij, kono bhagyavan, ajiv, brahmanda brahmite, kono bhagyavan, the fortunate soul, the bhagyavan. Bhagyavan mean fortunate. Bhagyate miloi, when fortune has come. Evam anupaditam pababa hikupe. We have that beautiful prayers he wrote when he came off the boat on the Jalaruta, that we are suffering in this material world. And the remembrance of Krishna, he wrote this beautiful prayer saying that, it doesn't come now, but the thing is that by the mercy of the spiritual master, that seed is watered. Watering the seed through chanting and hearing, we can, our bhakti, our kripa of devotional service will grow and grow and grow, and ultimately reach the spiritual realm, the spiritual world, where that kripa will bear all the beautiful fruits of devotion, all the different divine qualities. So, the disciple or conditioned soul is put into the darkest region of ignorance, and therefore is entangled in the material existence of sense gratification. It is very difficult to get out of this entanglement and attain freedom. But if one is fortunate enough to get the association of the spiritual master, like Kapila Muni or his representative, then by his grace, one can be delivered from the mire of ignorance. So only by the mercy of the spiritual master, one can be delivered from the suffering of this material world. Guru Kripa Bindu Diya Koro E Dase Tuna Piksha Tehina. Guru Deva Kripa Bindu Diya Koro E Dase Tuna Piksha Tehina. Only by the mercy of the Guru, by the Kripa Bindu, one drop of mercy, we can be delivered from this suffering of material existence. It is said that only by the association of the great saint, we can sadhu sangha, sarva siddhi hoy. We can attain the highest perfection. And that sadhu sangha, that sarva siddhi, that highest perfection, is the conclusion of the scriptures. It is the sum total of it is the conclusion of the scriptures. So when one gets that one moment association, tulayama levanapi na swarga na punarbhavam. It is not compared to even going to the spiritual world, the heavenly planets, attaining the highest achievement in the material world. If one achieves the highest realm of the material world, he will have to come back to the Mrityulok, and he will have to suffer the repeated cycle of birth and death. And if one achieves material, the highest material achievement, that will be taken away at the time of death, and long before death, sometime it's all taken away. And he cannot carry that to the other side. As we have, as Srila Prabhupada have explained here in the purport, this side of conditioned life and the other side is a life of freedom. So whatever we may achieve in this material world is a bondage. Karanam gunasangosya sarasad yoni janmasu. According to our karma, we are in the bondage of the material world, and according to our karma, good karma, we can attain the spiritual world. We can come out of the material world. So in spiritual life, when we practice this part of devotional life, we can make spiritual advancement and go to the other side, which is going to the side of freedom, to be free from the attachment of the material world. I would like to stop this class today, and if there is any questions, because there is no flow of, I always like to speak from somehow or the other, there is no flow is coming, so I would like to stop today, and for some reason or the other, maybe because Ramroy Prabhu is sitting in the crowd and in the class, and there is no flow. So I would like to ask if Ramroy Prabhu has anything to say, or if there's any question he can help us to also answer. So we will see if the flow will come again.
Very nice. In line with Prabhupada Parampara class, our position in this material world is very precarious. We see how Devahuti is expressing her deep and sincere and mature understanding of the need to have real spiritual knowledge. It's the darkest region of ignorance. Prabhupada would preach how we forget within the midst of our so-called happy, youthful, material life, enjoying the senses with full vitality, how we have to get old. Invariably, there will be crippling disease and ultimately death. And then the fourth misery that everyone forgets, but it's romanticized to be something very beautiful up in the womb. And we're becoming in later chapters where Kapila Dev explains graphically in detail the suffering that we, the spirit soul, undergo in the womb when we're awakened to consciousness for 7 months. For like 2 full months, 60 days, 24 hours a day, you're in this position and you're aware of it, and it's barely tolerable. Prabhupada mentions how if a grown man was put in such a position, he wouldn't be able to live in more than a few seconds. But Maya creates a situation that we're placed like that, and somehow we survive it. And all knowledge and awareness, like you were just explaining, how we have to learn how to walk and talk and go to the bathroom again, everything from scratch. We become so-called mature adults, and we have things figured out pretty good to a large extent, and then have to lose all that and then start from such a position of complete, utter dependency and ignorance. It's a very horrible position. So Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada would preach very strongly again and again. It's not optional, it's compulsory for everyone. And Maya makes this is your religion, this is like a sectarian thing, well, that's what you're into, but I'm into something else. Prabhupada would remark that this is not a sectarian religion because this is the only way that you can solve the problem of repeated birth, death, disease, and old age, which applies to everyone. It's what the rich man, living in the greatest opulence with a multi-million or billion-dollar Central Park West property, like penthouse view, he's not going to suffer like the person sleeping on the street. Everyone has to suffer. And it's not that your religion has a monopoly, this and that. So Krishna consciousness is so essential. And by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, in this age of degradation, that's another definition of Kali Yuga, not just the age of quarrel and hypocrisy, but the age of degradation, that things have been made very, very easy. What does Narottam Das Thakur says, that you are so kind, and if you put your glance upon me, Lord Nityananda, I can also become happy. So just a little Krishna consciousness, even they don't understand or even they're averse, it's enough to save them from, and not just repeated birth, death, disease, and old age, but transmigration into so many species of ignorance for many, many, many millions of years. So the urgency is very, very great. And Prabhupada would enlist, just like you just put a badge on anybody and everybody and make them a deputy. We got to go out there and, stop the invading force. Whatever little you have understood, that's enough. The urgency is so great. And Prabhupada wrote in the first canto, even they don't understand the language, or we don't understand the language. If the burning building, you just, get out, here's the net, here's the ladder, jump in the net, come in the ladder. You don't need to learn the language. The understanding is clear, and the directions are simple. So we should be very enthusiastic to be deputies of Srila Prabhupada and Lord Chaitanya and extend their mercy, their message, so that people can be saved. Hare Krishna.
So, thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for your encouragement. So, in this there is a verse that says, "Janmanam ante, bahunam janmanam ante." After many, many births and death, one jnanavan, one gets this jnana, this knowledge of self-realization. Bahunam janmanamante jnanavan mam prapadyante Vasudeva sarvamiti. That he knows that Vasudeva, Krishna, is the all in all. And Samahatma Sudurabha. That soul is very rare. So, Brahmanda Brahmite Kono, after, going through the cycle of birth and death, wandering in all the different planets, one get the Guru Kripa. Guru Kripa Prasad, the mercy, Bhakti Lata Beach. So, and that can take us to the other side, the side of where we can be free from the repetition of birth and death, suffering in this material world. So that was what Srila Prabhupada meant by one can be taken to the side of light. And that is the conclusion of the Tamasama Jyotirgama. Tamasoma Jyotirgama. Mrityunma Amritam Gamaye. From Tamasa, from ignorance, we get Jyoti, we get the light. And from Mrityu, we get Amritam, the life of immortality, the life of total freedom. So, as we tread the path of devotional life, we can understand that we are becoming free from the cycle of repetition of birth and death. If one is not tracking the path of devotional service, if one is not endeavoring on the path of devotional life, he will be continuously going in the darkness, in the darkest region of materialistic life. And is further and further away from Krishna. Krishna Surya Sama. Krishna Surya Sama. He is the Surya, he's the light. And Maya is the darkness. As we hear, we see there's an Andasya in the verse, in the beautiful verse, there's an Andasya, the darkness. And Krishna is the Surya. Srila Prabhupada would say, if we were to stand in the presence of Krishna, then there is no Maya. There is no darkness. So, Krishna Surya Sama Mayara Andhakar Yahan Krishna Tahan Nahi Mayara Andhikar. So, this is our great fortune to come in contact with the devotees, come in contact with spiritual life, and make spiritual progress. And that is when one can be taken to the side of light. This world is considered to be the dark world. Without Krishna giving the sun, like Srila Prabhupada gave the example that the sun is reflecting the rays of the Brahma Jyoti onto the earth. Because many scientists are trying to ascertain that how the sun is burning, and it's burning and burning, but there isn't any, toxic, whenever you burn something in the material world, some toxic waste is coming from it. But when this sun they say is burning, it's producing such light or such waste. They would say, some waste is coming, but no waste is coming. It is only for the benefit of humanity. That is the light of the sun. So, Srila Prabhupada gave the example of the child. He said he did it when he was small. You have a mirror, and you take this mirror, and you get the reflection of the sun. And as you reflect the sun, in the dark, you can reflect it wherever you want. You can reflect it on someone, you can reflect it on the wall, and you can play with it. And you can reflect it in a dark place, and that reflection will dissipate the darkness from that dark place. So, when I heard that example from Srila Prabhupada, I thought it's a very special example. That this rays of the sun, the light of the sun, is actually the rays of the Brahma Jyoti reflecting on earth or reflecting in other planets, or it's Yasyagyaya Brahmati Sambrita Kala Chakra. that it is only going on by the order of Krishna. The sun, by the function of the sun, all the other planets is continually existing and rotating and staying in their orbit. And it was also the sun is staying in its orbit by the order of Krishna. But Srila Prabhupada gives this beautiful example that it is reflecting the rays of the Brahma Jyoti onto the earth. And no living entities can live without the rays of the sun. We need that rays so much that without the rays of the sun is going in all the plants and all the, when we eat the plants, we get the energy from the sun. When the sun goes into the water, if you put the water in the sun, and some dirty water, you can purify it, can be purified by the rays of the sun. It is said that if we go in the sun also, we can get good health. Like we get the beautiful rays of the rising sun in the morning, we can get the good health. That's materially speaking. And spiritually speaking, everything is nourished by the light of the sun. So Krishna is the Surya Sama, and this world is a dark world. It's considered to be dark. It is dark. It is only by the grace of the Yat Chakshu Eva Esha Savita Sakala Grahanam. Is only by the eyes, the Chakshu, the glance. Maya Dyakshena Prakriti. Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita, Maya Dyakshena Prakriti Suyatesa Chara Acharam. By my aksha, by my glance, this whole creation come into existence. So by the light coming from the sun, creation is continuously going on. Without the light from the sun, creation would not go on. It's changes of the season is by the rotation of the sun, the season comes into existence. So, by the mercy of the spiritual master, the Shalakaya, by he using that expert instrument and injecting us with this knowledge, we can get the divine guidance and our spiritual life will be successful. It is said that the spiritual master is the expert physician, cleaning the eyes, putting the prema anjana. Jnana is a jnana anjana when mature becomes prema anjana. Prema anjana churita bhakti vilochanena. With bhakti, when we get this gyan, this knowledge, bahunam janmanamante, bahunam janmanamante, after many, many births, jnanavan, when one get this gyan, vasudeva sarvamiti, you understand that Krishna is the all in all. Lord, you are my all in all. Bhakti will grow, bhakti will develop. So, and that bhakti is the prema. Prema anjana churita bhakti vilochanena santa sadaiva hirdayeshu. Santa, the great saint, the great souls, Vasudeva Sarvam, Sa Mahatma, that great soul, which is Sudulabha, he can see Vasudeva Sarvamiti. He can see Santa Sadaiva Hirdayeshu. He can see the Lord within the heart. And when he sees the Lord within the heart, he surrenders to the Lord. Like in the case of Dhruva Maharaj, seeing the Lord within his heart. Seeing the Lord in the heart, seeing the Lord in the hearts of all living beings means we can surrender to the Lord. And more we surrender to the Lord, is more we can see the Lord in all things. Yomang pashyati sarvatra sarvang chamai pashyati. For one who sees me everywhere, sees everything in me. So when who sees me everywhere, surrenders to me constantly. Vidya Vinaya Sampane Brahmane Gavi Hastani Sunichaiva Swapakicha Pandita Samadarshina. He be able to see the Lord in all things. He be able to see and give everyone an equal opportunity to engage in devotional service. Like Srila Prabhupada, he was asked the question, Swamiji, how is it that you can say that you are seeing equally? You are seeing equally. And you are not making distinction by, preaching and saying, things that will help the conditioned souls to come out of the material world. You have to make some distinction in order to preach. Like the great Uttama Adhikaris, it said that they come down to the Madhyama platform so they can see the miserable condition of the material world, see the suffering, the living entities suffering. So if you're seeing them suffering, or you're seeing there's some distinction, he was asked, so then how are you equally disposed to all of everyone? And then he said, I am giving everyone an equal opportunity to become Krishna conscious. So when we see Krishna all the time, means we will surrender to Krishna all the time. We see Krishna in the water, we drink the water, we taste the water, we are surrendering to Krishna. We are being thankful to Krishna that this water is Krishna, and we can remember Krishna, and we can surrender to Krishna. When we see, through knowledge, we see Krishna in the heart of another living entity, we see Krishna in the heart of another devotee, we can see through the eyes of knowledge. So when the eyes are cleared, the spiritual master is clearing the eyes with the instrument, then we can surrender to Krishna more and more. This is what it means to see Krishna in all things and see Krishna at all times. So I am thankful for Ramroy Prabhu saving me the opportunity and giving me opportunity to say something more about on this verse in the Srimad Bhāgavatam class. So thank you again, and if there is any other question now, we will take a question. Ramroy Prabhu can help to answer also.
Yeah, thank you for the class. I was wondering about something you said in the beginning. You mentioned Bhaktivinoda Thakur is remembering his past birth. Unlike most people, he's actually remembering his past birth. But I'm wondering what that situation is like for someone like Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who's Nitya Siddha, is eternally liberated, or he's an eternal associate, actually, of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So people like that, or like Prabhupada, or like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, they're taking birth in the material world, but they're from the spiritual world. What is the situation of their birth like? I mean, are they suffering in the womb, or are they still in remembrance of Krishna while they're in that position?
Well, I will try to answer that question. That's a beautiful question. And maybe Ramroy Prabhu can help to answer that also after I try. Even while they sometimes on the planet, it is mysteriously seen that they are suffering. It seems like ordinary activity that they are suffering. Like Srila Prabhupada took so much austerity to present and to come to the point where he can give Krishna consciousness to the whole world. Satsup Maharaj, he write that book, Planting the Seed. And Giriraj Maharaj write a book, Watering the Seed. So, a lifetime in preparation. Seemed like he had to prepare, to deliver Krishna, to give Krishna. So, because we are seeing from the material eye, we can think that they are suffering. They are suffering, when they take birth. But the beautiful example is given that when the president goes to the prison, he might go through the same door. He might go through the same gate. The same guards might be there, yeah, at the prison. But they would be assisting the president, and they're duty bound to protect the prison, the president, while he is coming in the prison and while he is in the prison, and his only business in the prison is to give someone liberation. That's what the president goes to the prison for. He goes there to see if the condition is, too much, austere, and he can help to change some little thing. And he go there to pardon one or two of the prisoners who have been making some progress, socially, so they can re-enter, social civilization again. So when the pure devotee comes to the material world, he may seem like he coming, in the womb of the mother, and he might be suffering. But the description, like when Krishna came into the womb of Mother Devaki, it is said that she became so resplendent. She became so jubilant. Her body became, effulgent. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he came into the world also, it is said that Mother Sachi, her body became so beautiful that she was carrying something special. So too, when the pure devotees and the associates of the Lord come to this material world, they would be seeming like they're taking ordinary birth, but it's not ordinary. We have heard of the when in the Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime, the author of the Chaitanya Bhāgavatam, it is said that the mother, her husband had died a long time back. Was it 14 years before? Is it Ramai Prabhu, the author of the Chaitanya Bhāgavatam? Anybody could remember the name of that Vrindavan Das Thakur? It is said that her husband had died 14 years ago, and then she found out that she was pregnant, and she was going to commit suicide. And when going to commit suicide, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually appeared there and said, "What are you going to do? Wow, what are you going to do?" And she is saying that, well, everyone will think, how abominable is this condition? My husband has died so long, and now I am having the effects of pregnancy. So mysteriously, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "No, you go back home, and everything will be okay." And I don't know. Give Prabhu the mic, he will tell us the actual katha. He would say the actual names and so forth. Give him the mic. So, yeah, and so Vrindavan Thakur take birth in such a condition, seeming like ordinary, but it was not ordinary. Also, Srila Vyasadeva also, it seemed like ordinary birth, but not ordinary birth. Some condition might seem to be ordinary. And Srila Sukadeva Goswami, we understand that he took so long in the womb of the mother that he is suffering. Or he could be suffering, but actually he wasn't suffering. He was enjoying all the divine pastimes, all the different divine kathas, and just waiting to come out at the favorable time. And then we could also understand that Prahalad Maharaj, he was in the womb for such a long time. And then when he took birth, his birth was, so divine, and, he was the instrument to bring the Lord to the material world. So this Ramai Prabhu, if he has anything to say. Actually, I never give the class in the presence of any senior devotee. In my country, there aren't any senior devotees like Ram Roy and so forth. So, my spirit has never been hindered by the presence of a devotee. And that test comes that time. So I'm still learning to give the Bhagavatam class. And Ram Roy Prabhu, please, give us some, further insight to that question.
I can't recall, remember, or I'm aware of any Shastric references. If they could be supplied, or there are any, I'd be very happy that for such divine personalities, for associates of the Lord, that their so-called birth or time in the womb is not like the conditioned soul's time, where they're feeling the suffering. We hear how Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he was prayed to directly. His Mahabhagavat father prayed directly to the Lord to send someone from your personal staff, and the garland of Lord Jagannath fell upon him miraculously after the Jagannath cart stopped and could not be moved for days, and the garland fell down just when his mother brought him out. He was 4 months old at the time, 4 or 5 months old, and he had the umbilical cord. Shukadeva Goswami staying in the womb for 14 years because he thought that a more advantageous position in taking his risk to be captured by Maya outside the womb. So, and then we hear that the perfected sadhaka, he takes birth in a universe where Krishna is now currently present, displaying his pastimes, his road show, and then in the association of the Lord's Nitya Siddha devotees who also seemingly are taking birth, then that soul goes back to Goloka Vrindavan. So that birth is different. What do you think?
Definitely. Their birth is utsava. It's a festival when they take birth. Like when Srila Prabhupada took birth, he took birth on the day after Krishna's birth. So it was the actual day that they celebrate Krishna's utsav. But that also was given to Srila Prabhupada. So his birth is auspicious for the whole world. So if his birth is auspicious for the whole world, the mother who is carrying that child, that mother also, she is auspicious to the whole world. And it is said that the devotees, when they perform their Garbhadan samskar, which is the most important for a devotee, the Brahmanical culture, because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came in there, best of the Brahmanas. His father, Jagannath Mishra, and his mother, Sachimata, they were the best among the Brahmanas. So the Brahmanas, they would perform the Garbhadan samskar. And Srila Prabhupada said, sanskara janma dvija bhavet. Without the sanskar, there is no dvija, there is no twice born. So that Garbhadan samskar is that you are praying for a special soul to come within the womb. And that mother also, today we know all mothers they are protecting that child in the womb. And today, as we exist, the government is still trying to protect those mothers, those women who are pregnant, carrying the child within the womb. At least that was the original concept. So the father, the relatives, they would give protection to the pregnant woman, and make all condition compatible and harmonious, so she would give birth. So what about the one who is giving bringing the pure soul to the world, who is an instrument or is an instrument for bringing the pure soul to the world. That is even more glorious and more auspicious. And the Ryan disappeared with the answer. So, yes, Ramai Prabhu.
I'd like to add, and Prabhupada made this one of his very important preaching points in this age: abortion, killing the child in the womb. What a greatly sinful act that is. And those who perpetuate it, Prabhupada said, will not see the light of day for many, many repeated births and deaths. As they committed this act, they will have to be killed in the womb themselves, and by that never see the light of the sun for countless births.
Yeah, so that darkness is considered to be suffering. I was telling that to Prabhu Vishnu Prabhu. That is the type of punishment they give to prisoners.
Right.
They give them imprisonment where there is no light. So darkness is ignorance, but darkness is a punishment to the living entity in the material world. So we would like to stop here. I think it is 9 minutes gone past the 7. 7 minutes past 9. Is it? So we have gone past the time, and I am very thankful for this opportunity to do such a wonderful service of giving the Srimad Bhāgavatam class. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Gaura Pramanande Hari Hari Bol.